news as we welcome you to the beautiful borough of Brooklyn in New York City. It's the Barclays Center, home of the Nets. And they expect 13,000 fans, largest crowd of the season, to watch their big three, including Kevin Durant and James Harden. And watch their opponent in this best-of-7 series, Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. As you look at the Eastern Conference playoffs, we've already had a thriller earlier today in Milwaukee. The Bucks in overtime hang on and defeat the Miami Heat. And good evening, everyone. Along with Doris Burke, Mike Breen on hand, Lisa Salters with us as well. The start of these playoffs has been so much fun already, including that overtime game, including the Mavericks beating the Clippers in L.A., which you could call a bit of an upset. We don't know what we're going to see today, at least not yet, but we do know that the big three are all play together. Doris, that hasn't been the case all season long, and that's why it's so tough to gauge their potential. But just by knowing these players, this might be one of the most all-time lethal threesomes in the history of the NBA.
Right, because you're dealing with three of the greatest offensive players in the history of the game, but there's plenty of unknowns as well. Why? Well, only 8 games together, 6-2 record, and that includes a total of 202 minutes. What we have found out in those 202 minutes, though, Mike, is that James Harden will have the basketball a significant amount of time. Kyrie will slide to the 2, and why not give it to the maestro James Harden, averaging a shade under 11 assists per game. And if you look at what the Nets do shooting percentage-wise, it matters not the guy. There are certain guys who've benefited more than others. Jeff Green has been one of the most consistent players for the Nets all year. And if you're the Boston Celtics, transition defense is of the utmost important because these guys get out and run. They are lethal, they are deep, and they are long. And if you don't find your assignments quickly, it's coming down on your head, Mike.
Even with the star players missing so many games, they've been an offensive machine. Now their opponents, the Boston Celtics, they're a team that has had an uphill struggle much of the season. Health injuries and COVID, of course, have been a big part of it. Jaylen Brown, one of their all-stars, he's done for the season with a wrist injury. But they have a special player, and he's our golden moment presented by McDonald's because Jason Tatum right now is playing where you have a puncher's chance if you take the floor with him.
In the long, illustrious, successful history of the Boston Celtics, one guy in his 4th season is the only guy to go north of 50 3 times in the green uniform, and every single time it's been required. Mike, he is brilliant free-level scorer. If they're going to have a shot, Kemba Walker and one other person has got to find a way to be electric offensively.
The good news is Walker is playing his best basketball of the season right now, but they'll need huge performances from the all-star Jason Tatum. Game 1, Nets Celtics coming up next from Brooklyn.
Listen, how we got here don't matter. Nobody had it easy, but we made it. The job is not done. It's time to go harder, to perform at the highest level, to be legendary.
I'm trying to win. Don't care how I do it, just know that I did. I really encourage my haters to talk, throwing that shade on me, keeping me lit.
16 teams left, 16 wins to be the best. Got my hands in the air right now, 'cause I just want to hear right now. I did it, 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 I did it.
Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets. It's the NBA first round on ABC. And it's presented by Mountain Dew. Terrific crowd here at the Barclays Center. What a beautiful sound. 14,000, over 14,000 again. Largest crowd of the season to watch their Nets and the Celtics in game 1 of this best-of-7 series. Tonight's starting lineups are brought to you by Capital One. And for the Celtics, again, Jaylen Brown, he is done for the season. That's a huge loss. So they'll need big play from Evan Fournier, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, and Tristan Thompson. Meanwhile, for the Nets, for only the 9th time this season, Steve Nash can put Harden, Durant, and Irving in the starting lineup. Blake Griffin, the starting center, and the sharpshooter Joe Harris at guard. Let's welcome in for the first time tonight, Lisa Salters. Hey, Lisa.
Happy birthday to you, Mike. Well, you guys have already said it. Just 8 games played together for the Nets. Big 3. Steve Nash says we know it. We accept that. But Kevin Durant has said that they have found ways to bridge that gap. And he's not concerned heading into these playoffs.
Lisa, Doris, how great does this sound now? This many people. I've got goosebumps. It's been so long being in an arena with this many people.
We always say, Mike, the energy is almost tangible with the fans in the arena. It's tangible.
And, of course, these Brooklyn Nets, they've got these expectations of winning the whole thing. Let's see how they do. If they can stay healthy, they can be so tough. But the Boston Celtics come in, even without Jaylen Brown, feeling